What's up, YouTube family? My name is Chris. If you are new here, I'm trying to be more consistent with posting at least one video a week, which, I've been really good at doing that for the past few months. However, the last 3 weeks I have not posted any content due to a loss in the family. And I've been dealing with that for the past couple of weeks, so it's understandable, but life goes on, so just trying to move forward in life. However, I learned a lot in the last 3 weeks. Every day we are a work in progress. Every day we can learn something. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. We are still evolving in this world, and I do think that there are plenty more things that we could learn. And like I said, I did learn a lot in the last 3 weeks. When you're going through a lot of stuff, when you feel overwhelmed, it's kind of good to kind of just get out of your comfort zone. And for me, as you could tell in the beginning of the video, being out in the country, being away, the location that I was at is about an hour and a half out away from the city. Nothing but land everywhere, very few minimal houses, but nothing but peace and quiet. You don't hear anybody. You don't hear cars. You don't hear people. You don't hear anything. And I think that was the best part about it, because it kind of gave my mind a reset. It gave me a chance to rethink things in my life, and it gave me time to rethink my whole way of living life. And it just felt good to kind of just get everything off of my mind and just kind of just think about what all I've been going through in the last 3 weeks and how can I use that to become a better person. As you can tell from the title of the video, the power of forgiveness, as well as dealing with grieving a loss. And I did have permission from my aunt. As I mentioned, my uncle had passed away. And I did get permission from my aunt, from his wife, to talk about it, because in order for y'all to understand the message of this video to help you guys out, I need to at least talk briefly of what it is that I went through, so that way you guys could take from this and understand. Now, without going into much details, so me and my uncle, we grew up, I grew up really close to my uncle. As I was, before my brother was born, before my sister was born, before any of my cousins were born, it was just me. And I do remember going everywhere with my uncle, him taking me everywhere. And from what I remember, he was really proud to be an uncle. And then once when I started having my cousins come into the world, and my brother and my sister, he was really proud to be an uncle, and just to, you could just tell that he was a very genuine soul, always willing to help out. And, if there was a stranger on the street, he was willing to take off the clothes off of his back. He was a really good guy. About a year ago, in April of 2023, we did have a miscommunication, disagreement, and it did fall sideways, and it just went, it downward spiraled into a situation to where we just never talked again. And for months and months and months and months, which then led into a year, I had resentment. I couldn't forgive just because of my own personal thing that was going through my mind. And my uncle did have kidney failure. I did, take a brief time of my life to see if I could try to help. So for me personally, there was a lot of resentment that went into that. Fast forward a year later, of March of 2024, then my uncle had passed away. So he passed away without me not even being able to say goodbye. A year had went by, and I'd never got a chance to talk to him, never got a chance to say goodbye. All I could remember were just the last words that were ever said, the last time I ever saw him. And all the while throughout that time that I was not forgiving him or forgiving myself, then he passed away. And it was the worst feeling that I could ever have to deal with when I found out that he had passed away, because I had missed him so much during the time when he was still alive. And there were times that I wanted to reach out, but I just kind of let my pride get in the way, and I just never did. So now I have to live with that for the rest of my life. Forgiving myself for not reaching out and just trying to take in what was going on, trying to process it. It was very tough. I've been through a lot of deaths in my family, and this one was hard just because I knew that my uncle was sick, and I really wished that I would have reached out more to check up on him to see how he was doing. So I had to figure out, how do I live life, with him not here anymore, as far as forgiveness. However, with that being said, there is a power to forgiveness. And with that being said, I like to try to remind myself of the 4 R's of forgiveness: responsibility, remorse, restoration, and renewal. By taking responsibility and taking accountability of what you did and what they did, and just try to move past it, and renewal, into renewing your life, into becoming a better person, restoring what was done, and to restore that in life, and just to put it behind you, and to have remorse. In the Bible, according to Matthew 6:14, those who do not forgive will not be forgiven by God. For if you forgive others who have sinned against you, then God will forgive you. Forgiving other people and forgiving yourself can help us heal emotionally. But if you don't forgive others, then God will never forgive you for those who have hurt us, including us who have hurt ourselves. When we hold on to anger and resentment and negative emotions towards others, it can lead into stress, anxiety, and even physical health problems. Forgiveness can help us release those negative emotions and allow us to feel more at peace. With that being said, I have a friend who kind of knows what I've been going through, and they kind of know of the topic of my video, what I was doing. And she was cool enough to let me in on a story of hers, and she was telling me that just a couple of days ago that an ex-boyfriend of hers had reached out, and the last that she ever heard from was like two years ago. And he had cheated on her, he had did her wrong, very wrong, and he had reached out not to open communication with her, but to ask for forgiveness and to let her know that he was sorry, and the position that he's in right now, which is in a very good place. He's good financially. He's making money. He's just living life, and he's at peace with himself, with his soul, with the spirit, and with his heart. And in order to do that, he had to ask for forgiveness. And I thought that was powerful, and that just goes to show you the power of forgiveness, because he was able to not only forgive himself, but to also ask for forgiveness. It put him in a really good place. And so that is God taking care of you. Forgiveness means letting go of resentments that keep us tied to the people that committed against us. We have to learn to let that go. If you just continue living life in anger, you're only going to be hurting yourself. Trust me, I had to learn the hard way. I think the last thing that you ever want to do, especially if it's with a family member, with a friend, or whatever, you always got to remember the last thing that could have been said, or the last thing that you could say, and then what if they're never here anymore? Those are things that you may have to live with for the rest of your life. I know that was something that I had to deal with, and it hurts. But at the same time, I was able to ask for forgiveness from my family, but most importantly, to forgive myself, and for it to put it under the bridge and to let it go, and to be there for my family. I feel at peace. And I think this is something that we can always learn. Forgiveness is a big deal. Now, I understand you can forgive, but you can't forget, and that's okay. There's a difference between if someone's constantly hurting you and abusing you and whatnot. At that point, I don't really think that forgiveness is really a thing anymore, because these people are never going to change, and you're always going to continue getting hurt. But to be able to forgive and just walk away, I think that will help you be at peace and to help you become a better person. We can always learn from one another, and I think that's very key to us living life. God will take care of you, but you got to take care of yourself first. For me, every day was a struggle. For the last 3 weeks, I miss my uncle very much, but I know he's in a better place, and I know he forgives me as I forgive him. So where do we go now in life? We move forward, we learn, we live, and most importantly, we love. If you didn't make it to the end of this video, I really do appreciate it, as you could have been doing anything with your time. I ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.